Mark Yusko explains how the demise of the banking system is a controlled implosion. Mark W. Yusko is a prominent investor, hedge fund manager, founder, chief investment officer, and managing director of Morgan Creek Capital Management in the United States, an investment management business that provides investment advice to pension funds, endowments, and wealthy individuals. Yusko has an interesting take on the Federal Reserve, Bitcoin, and the banking system. He asserts that the collapse of the banking system is a controlled implosion with the purpose of instilling fear and distrust not only in the cryptocurrency industry, but also in the banking system as a whole. Hello, and welcome to another video of Finance Sense, where we cover all the latest trends in the financial markets and the economy. In this video, we'll show you what Mark Yusko has to say about this controlled implosion and what this implies to the US economy. But before we start, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment below if you enjoyed watching this video, and turn on the notification bell to keep posted. During an interview with Invest Answers, Mark Yusko, an investor and hedge fund manager, was sought out for his thoughts on the underlying cause of the financial crisis. Yusko has never been one to hold back when discussing his theories. All of Yusko's financiers and background give him a credible voice when it comes to his views on the US economy, cryptocurrencies, and the Federal Reserve. Whether it be the useful morons operating FTX or the deliberate attempt by governments to diminish Bitcoin, Yusko is frank and direct. Deutsche Bank, one of the most significant actors in the global financial sector, has seen a steep and persistent decline in its share price, which has placed further strain on the international financial system. The managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina Georgieva, has recently stepped up to express her concern that this is more than just a regional banking problem in the United States. Deutsche Bank is the most recent financial institution to be impacted by the ongoing banking crisis, which has been the topic of conversation in the world of global finance. At a conference in Beijing, Georgieva stated that, at a time of higher debt levels, the rapid transition from a prolonged period of low interest rates to much higher rates necessary to fight inflation inevitably generates stress and vulnerabilities. As per Mark Yusko, this frenzy and phobia of the banks are all orchestrated, with the goal of having everyone so afraid of banks that they will only deposit their cash in one location, the government. The goal is to make everyone believe that the banks are out to get them. According to Yusko, gold is the foundation of money and is, in fact, the only kind of money that exists in the world. Money is defined as an asset that may exist even in the absence of liability. Even the legendary financier J.P. Morgan said that gold is money and everything else is merely credit. Therefore, the big question now is whether or not all of the gold in Fort Knox really exists, or if those gold has been sold off many times. Yusko stated that nobody knows for sure. Both China and Russia have a significant amount of gold, and a number of national central banks have been increasing their reserves of gold. It is a fundamental building block of money, and there is a finite supply of it. Everything else is then built on top of it using debt and cash. As a result, Yusko stated they couldn't stop people from owning gold unless they went to everybody's house and searched and seized it, which they didn't do, but they made a statement. And in 1975, they reversed it because they had basically closed the gold window, and they cut a deal with Saudi Arabia in 1971, where they deliberately said we'll go off the gold standard. Back in the day, if you had a paper note, which looked like a piece of paper with green and white stripes on it, you could hand it over to the government, and in exchange, they would give you either gold or silver. Money was valuable back then, but that is not the case anymore. It's likely that individuals will claim its support by full faith and credit, but in reality, that phrase doesn't imply anything at all. If you turn in your piece of green paper to the government, you won't get any gold or silver in return, nor will you receive any tax relief or reduction in the amount of debt you owe. You do not gain much in any way. Yusko maintained that the only reason money and other forms of cash have value is due to customs and beliefs. In the United States, green pieces of paper are used for the dollar bill, whereas in China, the renminbi is printed on red pieces of paper. But before we move on to the next part of this video, I wanted to ask all of you guys what your thoughts are on Yusko's views. Do you agree with his thoughts regarding banks and crypto? If the answer is yes, or you're having second thoughts, please let us know in the comment section below so we can keep the conversation going. And now, let's continue watching the video. Meanwhile, 80% of Bitcoin in particular is held by entities located outside of the United States. Bitcoin is an example of a kind of digital currency that is generated and kept electronically. No one controls it. Bitcoins are not printed like dollars or euros. Instead, they are created by individuals and businesses using software that solves mathematical puzzles on computers all over the globe. This process is known as mining. Now, consider the possibility that you are unable to utilize any of the financial channels sanctioned by the United States government in order to convert money into Bitcoin. What will the public do? According to Yusko, the majority of individuals will tend to act in the same manner as they did in 2013. As the value of Bitcoin on the market stood against time, there have been an increasing number of instances of criminal and civil enforcement actions involving the cryptocurrency. Most people would withdraw cash from the ATM, then go meet someone in a back alley where they would trade the money for a key that had Bitcoin printed on it. In this scenario, negative things frequently occur when individuals purchase illegal items. Because there is no regulation on the usage and exchange of Bitcoin, various federal law enforcement authorities are clamping down on individuals who are suspected of using Bitcoin in illicit transactions. The takeaway from this is that decentralized exchanges cannot be banned. According to Yusko, saying that you are going to ban crypto or ban Bitcoin is equivalent to saying that you are going to stop the supply of electricity. Cryptocurrency has been met with hostility by regulators and banks for a considerable amount of time now. These institutions believe that crypto is unstable, would cause a breakdown in the financial system, and that it should be banned. However, they are also attempting to instill fear and distrust not only in the cryptocurrency industry, but also in the banking industry as a whole. Yet one would wonder why financial institutions would wish to sow discord over the banking system. Yusko explained that this is done so that people will be so terrified of leaving their money in the bank that they will transfer it to the Federal Reserve. Ever since the early 1980s, the Council for Economic Stability has been gathering on a weekly basis on Sundays. This council is comprised of the heads of the United States Treasury and Federal Reserve, as well as the 4 largest banks. Because of this, all of the significant events that have taken place in the financial services industry during the past 35 years have taken place on Sunday evenings. On a Sunday night, many financial institutions, including Bear Stearns, the Lehman Brothers, Washington Mutual, Wachovia Bank, Silicon Valley Bank, and Signature Bank were all taken over. According to Yusko, the Federal Reserve is neither federal nor does it have any reserves. It is not a bank in any way. It is a private corporation owned by the banks as well as a small number of extremely wealthy European families. The Fed was established by the same people who founded the first central bank in the Netherlands in order to finance wars and take over France to have control over the world's reserve currency for the next 70 years. And now they realize that it is under threat. But why is it under threat? Yusko asserted that it is because of mismanagement. He then added that all empires were always bound to collapse, and the American empire was falling. Hi, we hope that you've enjoyed watching this video and learned something valuable. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to keep posted with our videos. This is Finance Sense, helping you stay current on all the most recent changes in the financial markets and economy. Stay safe and look out for the next video.